Omar, thank you for having me on the show.
What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? How are you?
So last time we kind of had a conversation was about maybe
A couple months ago,
right?
in the library.
Yeah. So could you just quickly introduce yourself?
Sure.
Who you are and just what you've been up to since we last talked?
Sounds good. Yeah. So my name is Reggie. I am a junior at UT. I actually met Omar through one of our classes, BA 324. Yeah, and I study specifically MIS, right? So I'm pretty tech adjacent. A lot of my hobbies include, reading Twitter, a lot of, finance stuff, tech stuff, AI. We can get deeper into that later. But these past months, I've interned at a startup called SweetSpot. Basically, we use AI to help with government contracts. And then this past month, I've also been with a VC firm called Combinator as a strategy intern.
Super cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you forgot to mention one of your hobbies, which is kickboxing. So
Yeah,
Reggie, how
yeah.
many fights have you had?
I've had 3 fights so far. So I had
3 fights.
Yeah. 1 professional one, and then 2 amateurs.
That's super cool. So
Yeah.
I want to dedicate a little segment to kickboxing as well.
Of course.
So to start off, right, you're in the AI space. For the people watching who know nothing about AI, right? So pretend like the audience knows nothing about AI. How would Reggie define AI?
How would I define AI? AI is an attempt by humanity to replicate human intelligence, right? And the way that we train AI is with a lot of human data, right? So we train AI to replicate human intelligence. But the thing is that the cap on AI intelligence, like where it can go, is much, much harder than humans, right? It's infinite. So theoretically, the longer that we have AI, the more it trains, the better models that we produce. It will be infinitely better than us at whatever we do. And the question from here is like, will AI get better? It's like, how soon will AI reach a stage to where it can outperform humans on every vector of life? And then what will be the point of humanity after AI reaches that point?
Yeah, what would be okay, I see what you're saying. So you mentioned keywords right here, is train the AI. And you were in 2 different startups, right? How does the training the AI differ from company to company, startup to startup, and industry to industry?
Yeah, of course. So at the beginning, I think like the clear leader in the pack was like OpenAI. Right? ChatGPT, right? They were like the general model, right? They were the first model that anyone's ever heard of, right? And this is why they're so big right now. Like they have 80% of the market, right? Like that's all the consumers. But the longer that we see the AI race go on, the more niche we can see every single company getting, right? We have Anthropic, right, Claude, and then they're very, very good at coding, right? And you have Perplexity, right, web search, and you have ChatGPT, open use, and then like you can go on to list as many labs as you want, right? But the longer that we go, the more niche and defining we see every single lab going.
So how does the training differ the more niche you get?
I think it depends on the type of like training data, right? So like every single company gets the data from different places, right? Look at Facebook, right? They probably source most of the data from Facebook, right? Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. You look at Grok, right, or Twitter.
Yeah.
Most of the training data probably comes from like Twitter, right? So like every single lab has like different personalities because the AI replicates like, the data that they're trained on.
I see. So the first company that you worked at was the government contracts?
Yeah. So it's my brother's company called SweetSpot.
Okay.
It's actually backed by YC, and they're about to raise their rounds later in the year.
Nice.
But it's very, very cool what they're doing. The main thesis is like government contracting was like a very walled off space in the past, right? Like it's like if you know, then if you get the contracts. Yeah. But like now with AI, anybody can theoretically bid for contracts because the bottleneck was actually writing the requests, like the proposals for the contracts in the first place, right? They're pages and pages for like, boring shit that you have like people to sit down and do.
Yeah.
Right? Like small businesses cannot afford to hire like experienced proposal writers to come in, write the proposals, look at them for like weeks on end for like a small chance of getting the proposal in the first place, right? But what if I can buy a $200 software every single month and then have the AI come in, it just generates like proposal after proposal after proposal, like one of them must hit, right?
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
that's what your brother does, or like
That's
your
my brother
brother's.
does.
So he generates the proposals.
Yeah. Like it's a little bit more complex than that, but at the base it's just like helping companies kind of like all get into the government contracting space, right? And that's good for both companies because like now they have a new, revenue vehicle that they can pursue.
Yeah.
But it's also good for the government because it brings in a lot of competition. Right, in the past, like especially in the defense industry, right, you can have like only 3 companies. Right, you have like Boeing, Lockheed, and like General Dynamics or something, right? And like it would be the same 3 companies like bidding for every single contract over and over and over.
Oh.
Right now, like if you open up the market to the entire American economy, right, they have to, like bid competitively, right? Because they're bidding against everyone on the market.
And that just the price as well. 'Cause that's
The price, the
more
quality.
supply. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if you had like 100 manufacturers, you could probably get a better price and a better quality than if you're just limited to 2.
Exactly. Yeah. So what about the second startup?
Yeah, so it's kind of special because I'm working for the VC firm. It's called Combinator. We primarily like invest in very early companies, right? Very early startups. But this startup is very unique because we are starting the startup inside of the VC firm, right? So we're directly like incorporating it inside the VC firm. So like one of the associates is leading it, and then I'm on the business side, and then we can directly use the VC firm's connections, capital, our resources to grow the startup instead of like going out and selling our equity for money.
So since you're in like a VC, does that mean you come across a lot of different ideas and a lot of different startup founders and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I've been pretty lucky to like sit in on a couple calls where the associates and the general partners, they like sit down with the startups, they learn more. But like 90% of my time is primarily spent like driving the business and like initiative of the startup that we're incubating inside of the VC fund.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess this is like more of a broad question. I don't know if you have experience in this directly, but let's say a VC firm is getting a lot of different startup suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
How do you identify which one is worth our time and which one is just not really worth our time?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm not really qualified to speak on this.
Okay.
But I would say it's probably it comes down to like industry experience, right? Like you if you look at a lot of startups, you start seeing like common trends among every single startup that succeeds, and you're like, oh, like maybe this industry is ready to rock right now, or like these type of founders from this kind of background, like of course it's very like it has a lot of variance like founder to founder, but if you like aggregate amongst like your entire experience of investing, you're going to be able to pick through trends that you think are very bullish on like, oh, this is going to be the next unicorn, right? So like it comes down to a lot of like experience by the general partners. You have to have very, very good general partners who have been investing in very good startups, because they will be the ones that will be able to tell like, this is a good startup, it's a good idea, these are good founders, they come from good backgrounds compared to people that have no experience.
I see.
Yeah.
My next question was going to be, I had the question.
No worries. Well, Omar, like I'd love to learn a little bit more about you. Like, what kind of interests you in the AI space?
So what interests me in the AI space is more on the monetary end. So software is one of those industries where if you get to a certain level of revenue, you can sell for a crazy multiple. So those multiples, for you to get like a 20x multiple on a business, that rarely happens. Like if you sell a local lawn mowing company, you're not going to get a 20x multiple.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree.
So though that multiple thing, that definitely what drew me to AI. And also just me using ChatGPT, me using Copilot for, to be honest, everything.
Everything.
Like,
yeah.
To be honest, I don't even, if I have a question, I don't go to Google anymore. I only strictly go to ChatGPT.
Why is that?
Because what I like about ChatGPT is if I have a question and it gives me a response, I can immediately ask it a follow-up. And then it's going to use that context from the previous question to give me like an even more thorough response.
Makes sense.
And then I can just keep following up until, to be honest, sometimes I have like a random thought.
Yeah.
And after I have like a series of follow-up questions, I feel like I have a really good grasp on whatever I'm asking. With Google, it's like you ask it a question and you have to like open a whole new tab.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't keep the thread. So and then you maybe have to dig for details. Maybe this website, you have to check out this article, and then it doesn't really give you what you need. You have to check out another article.
So it just like gives you better answers.
It gives me better answers, exactly what I'm looking for. And if it's not exactly what I'm looking for, I can tell it what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And I can give it context, etc. That's what drew me to AI.
Right.
And
okay.
the multiples thing.
I see. Oh, Omar, like one trend that I've been noticing in my years of college, the past years of college, that on every single assignment that I do, like AI will always be involved, right? People will always be like, not even like if the teachers allow it or not, but, like people will just fucking use it, right? Like how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this, right? And like in the completion of finishing the assignment, like half of it at least is done by AI, right? So here's my question.
Half is undercutting it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. So here's my question to you, Omar, right? Like if it's the AI that's doing all the work in the first place, what is stopping employers from just cutting out the middleman of us asking the AI to do the work, you just have the AI do the work.
I think that's actually something I think about a lot. So I have kind of my thoughts, but you're obviously more involved in the AI space than I am. So I'm gonna share some thoughts, and then you kind of give your own on top of it. Okay?
Sure, sounds good.
So an employer, let's use the employer. Let's say the employer gives an employee a task. First of all, why is he giving the employee a task in the first place? One, he may not have the time. So just because an employer can do the task himself, that doesn't mean he wants to, has the time, or my second point, he has the expertise. So AI is like a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
If you don't know what to ask it, if you don't know how to prompt it, which is another topic, prompt engineering, right? If you don't know what to ask, ChatGPT is useless. It's like a dead cell phone or a dead laptop. You can have a piece of metal, right? But it's just kind of useless. So I think that's really the two things: the time, you're saving the employer time, and you're kind of like the employee. If he's brought on, if he's hired, he most likely has a skill that is valuable, and he knows how to ask the ChatGPT. So that even if the ChatGPT, it's not fully accurate. Would you agree? Sometimes it makes mistakes.
I agree, but like with every single new generation of models, the mistakes get less and less.
Get less and less.
And then we just get to a point where the employer looks at the entire picture. They're like, okay, like ChatGPT might like fuck up like this amount of time, times, but if it saves me this much more money, and I don't have to pay $60K a year plus
401k,
insurance, plus 401k, plus healthcare, plus the fucking childcare, like I would take on that amount of risk, right?
I mean, I can definitely see where you're coming from. But how do you feel about those 2 points that I made? Like the time, the employer doesn't have the time, and if employer has if he's the manager and he's managing 100 people, those are 100 tasks that are simultaneously getting done. That he doesn't have mental capacity. He may have the time, but not even the mental capacity to do all that. What do you think?
I would agree.
So let me ask you that same question. If ChatGPT and AI can give you those answers that you're looking for, why not, as an employer, just get rid of all the employees and just kind of do it well?
So, it won't be like a complete replacement, but we're going to see is like a massive downsizing to where the very entry-level jobs get eradicated, because most of those jobs are like grunt work, right? You're making Excel sheets, you're making models, like the same models everyone's making, like fucking pitch slides if you're like talking about consulting or something, right? And then on like the software developer side, right, you have like the same code that's being written, right? The same the same task that's always like been done in a certain way.
Yeah.
If you don't have to have that much creativity, like why not have the AI do it, right? So there's gonna be a very, very big downsizing in entry-level jobs, right? And then you're gonna have the managers, right, or like the very cracked people, and then instead of managing like 10 interns or 10 new analysts or like 10 new entry-level people, they're just managing like 10 new AIs that are custom fine-tuned on that like specific job that every single like intern does. And then like instead of a 100-person firm, it's gonna be like a 5-person firm, and like the rest of the work is done by AI. So you will still have humans in the managing role, right? Like very experienced humans that have seen this like line of work done like through their years of experience. But the very entry-level people that have like not that deep niche experience to contribute, all of them will be gone. All of them.
Because why even train someone?
Yeah.
Why train a human? Why spend all that time and money on them when you can just use a $200 AI subscription?
That knows your entire company history,
exactly.
all the work that's been done.
Yeah.
And it's like 30 minutes you fucking train them on like the company data. Like versus the intern. I mean, it's the same thing.
Is lazy,
lazy.
He's not willing to work.
Yeah.
He's not willing to work 24/7. The AI can work 24/7.
24/7, right?
24/7.
Without breaks.
Without
At peak
breaks.
efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. Man, so where do you even see humanity headed? I mean, if every company can reduce its workforce, let's say the unemployment rate is 70%.
Yeah.
Who's generating the money? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's spending? Because if 70% of people don't have jobs, 70% of people don't have money, 70% of people don't have anything to contribute.
That's like the big question.
What is?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows, right? Like you're probably seen this like Peter Thiel clip, right? But a couple weeks ago, he was on this interview for like the New York Times or something, right?
Okay.
And he got asked this question, which I think is hilarious. He got asked, Peter, do you think humanity should continue to survive?
Is that the Palantir guy?
Yes.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I saw that clip.
He sat there for 30 seconds.
He was like,
it's a very good question.
That's a very good question. that actually like
no, but
confuzzled him.
Just for context, right? They were talking about the same topic that we're talking about right now, right? Like the advent of AI superintelligence, and if they're better than us at everything, like what is the point for humans? Like should humans continue to survive? And he sat there thinking for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? He was like, yeah, I guess, but nobody knows what's gonna happen.
To be honest, I doubt that reality or that version of like 70% of people are unemployed happens. I feel like we are undermining the human's ability to adapt.
You think so?
I feel like we are, because when one industry shuts down, another one opens up. Like newspapers, right? Everyone thought all the people in the newspaper industry were going to be unemployed, and they are. But the internet created like 10 times more jobs, or 10 times more opportunity, 10 times even more market cap. Like there's a lot more money in internet than in newspaper.
Yeah, of course. But like in the past, it was always humans competing against humans, right? Now it's a human competing against like super intelligence.
Against a robot, right?
Against a robot that never sleeps, that always works at peak efficiency.
Smarter.
For like 5% of the cost.
I have no idea.
Yeah, nobody has an idea.
So how far do you think that is? Like how much time do we have?
How much time do we have?
Yeah, how much time do we have?
Dude, I don't know. Like again, like any answer I give, like you will have to take with a very big grain of salt because I'm not a computer science student, right?
Yeah.
Like I have no context in like any of like the work that the AI labs are doing right now. But from what I see on Twitter, I think the general consensus is that peak super, like the very early stages of super intelligence will be here in around 4 or 5 years.
So we have 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years. Yeah. Like
That's not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time.
That is not a lot of time.
Yeah. Thankfully, humanity still retains the edge. I saw something on Twitter a couple days ago. It was like this Polish guy. He was in a coding competition in Tokyo, and then he barely won against ChatGPT's AI in like a coding competition. And then he was like 72 hours, no sleep, just barely managed to like get the lead over this AI.
Oh my god.
This is the last time that humanity will ever
literally, bro.
outcompete the super intelligence.
Yeah.
And they have fucking Sam Altman, and like as the first reply, he says, "Good job."
Oh my god.
It's so over. It's so over.
So it's not even. It could not be even. It could be less than 4 or 5 years. Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, ChatGPT came out 4 or 5 years ago, and like at that time, it was just like an autocomplete tool, right? It was not that good, but everyone was like, "Wow!" And now
I was shocked when it came out.
Yeah.
The fact that you could answer the question and it types out this whole response, that was insane.
Super intelligence, bro.
So you mentioned coding competition, and last time we talked, however many months ago, you were involved in like a lot of hackathons.
Yeah.
So what is a hackathon?
What is a hackathon?
What is a hackathon?
Good question. So a hackathon, typically, like the format is when it's a 24-hour competition, and then like typically the way that hackathons are set up is that you have sponsors that come in, right? They provide the merge, the food, right? And then they also get the chance to like pick the challenge, right? Like whatever they want you to do. And then it's like a 24-hour challenge. You can build whatever you like to kind of meet the criteria of that challenge.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that's the basic format of a hackathon. I was involved in a couple, right? So thankfully, with the advent of AI, I was able to code and like build stuff that previously I was not able to.
Because you don't have a computer science background.
I don't have a computer science background.
So you literally just dove right in with no experience.
Yeah.
And you were able to get involved with hackathons just with AI.
But I feel like my strong points is like I know what people kind of want, right? I know how to pitch something very, very well.
Okay.
I know how to, appeal to like everyone's like kind of like pain points, right? I can like find out this is something very cool. This is something that actually solves something, right? And then this is like something that judges can see, growing bigger outside of the hackathon, right? It's not just like a project that we do like just for fun, right?
Yeah.
So like even though I have those skills in the past, if I couldn't code, I couldn't join a hackathon and like use those skills to like build something, right? But with AI, I was able to code like an app, right? Writing like entire like very beautiful front page for it, and then just like pitch the idea rather than the product, right? Because at the end point, it's the idea that matters.
Because you only have 24 hours.
Only 24 hours. Like how are they gonna like judge you on a project like that is good enough to compete against all the competitors out there, right? You have fake companies, you have like research AI labs, right? Like how are you gonna code a project that's good enough to compete with them? You can't, right?
Yeah.
You have to pitch the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
So could you tell me a little bit more about the projects? Because you said you were involved in a couple.
Sure.
So can you give us an example of what a hackathon mission is, or like the goal of it is?
Sure. Yeah. So I competed in 2. Right. The first one was at UT, and basically they were like solve a pain point of startups. Right. What is like a common pain points in startups?
That's so broad.
So broad, right? And then basically you had to come up with a product in 24 hours that answered that question.
That is insane.
So you have to build a good product, and you have to pitch it very, very well.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, our thesis for the entire project was like startups. They don't have a lot of capital, right? They don't have a lot of time, a lot of money, right? They are on a race to build something that people want, right? Before the big companies like kind of build out themselves,
Yeah.
right? And leverage their existing customer base and all of that money. It's like they are like very much the underdogs,
Yeah.
right? And like you don't know what to do, also, right? You're the underdogs. You don't have a lot of cash, right? You're usually very inexperienced,
Yeah.
right? You're very young, right? So like, what do you do, right? So we answered the question of what do you do by building a simulator, right? It's like you plug in a decision of like, should I do this into the AI, and then the AI will take a look at the entire context of like the problem and all of the information that it has from like the internet, and then we'll like map out all the different scenarios that this can lead down, like kind of like a decision tree, right? Like if I like, should I move to SF, right? And then it'll go like, oh, like this will happen if you move to SF, or this can happen, and then like it goes like broader and broader and broader and broader like a model, right?
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then it will come up with like the best decision for you that it thinks it is at the end. So like mathematically, you can map out like a good decision to follow, and, like all the like different nodes that you can go down.
Did you win that one? That seems like a really good idea.
Yeah, we want a best product.
Let's go.
Yeah, what do you think about
Wait,
that?
best product or best idea?
Best product.
Who got best idea?
I don't think that was a category.
Oh,
yeah.
That seems like a really good idea.
You like it?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like theoretically, like that doesn't have to be just used for startups, right? Any kind of decision making that you have to do, right?
life.
Should I talk to Omar? These are the benefits, these are the risks, right?
Should we film this podcast?
Should we film this podcast? Omar's not paying me, by the way. Right? So,
Yeah.
right, it maps out all the different like things that will happen, like a very, very advanced decision tree.
Yeah.
Right? And then the second one, it was at UTD, right? So I went up to UTD. Yeah. Found like I went by myself too, right? So like I had no friends with me, no team, and I was like, I'm just gonna go there for the love of the game, right?
Yeah.
So I went there, found a couple like cracked graduate Indian students, and then we built a like revenue prediction model for pizza restaurants. Right? So think about this, Omar, right? I'm a pizza restaurant.
Okay.
How do I know how many employees do I staff and how much food I buy every single day? How would I know that?
Just based on visitors, based
Visitors.
on like previous history of visitors.
History of visitors.
At least that's what I would think.
Will it be like a model that you think, or like just like gut experience from like years in the pizza industry?
I think it would just be a feeling.
A
I feel
feeling?
like
Yeah.
usually Saturdays are more busy than Tuesday.
Yeah.
Just typically.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, okay, guys, my employees, I'd be like, guys, come in.
Yeah.
We need 3 people on Saturday
Mhm.
versus Tuesday, we need like 1 guy.
Yeah, of course. And like that will pretty much ring true because like holidays are coming in. Usually every single Christmas we predict like this many people come in and this right, and this
Yeah.
right. So like you can build all that stuff, right? That prediction model, assuming you have like past sales with a simple Excel graph, right? Nothing too advanced, right?
Yeah.
But where we really innovated is that we started accounting for present time changes in information, right? So in the past, right, you can go like look at all the past sales. You can say, oh, like Tuesdays are more busy, right? Like, if rain comes, then like we can expect customers to like decrease by this like, amount of percent, right?
Okay.
But what we started doing is we started using AI to start looking at present information to see how it changes revenue, right? We start predicting revenue in the future, right? We start taking a look at weather, right? So if next week on Saturday it rains, I know not to staff with 3 people. I can staff with 2, and that saves me $60, right, for that day, right? And then if there's an event nearby that I gain context to through like AI web search, right? Maybe there's a high school graduation happening nearby, right? And they want to cater pizza. Right now, I know that the percentage of them ordering pizza from my restaurant is pretty high, right? They're pretty close. It's like a white high school, like Italian high school that wants pizza probably, right? It's a graduation, right? So we started incorporating AI to like web scrape all the like possible scenarios that can happen to incorporate like present data on top of the historical data to make like very, very accurate revenue models. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense.
Yeah.
My question is, it kind of ties back to the very, very beginning where you emphasized training data. So how did you train something like this? And how are you training it to get present day information? Because you can put past information into it. I feel like that's not really hard to do. But how do you make sure it stays constantly updated?
Machine learning plus AI, and then I can't get into like more specific details because I don't know.
Okay.
It was my friends, my teammates that trained that model. But basically that's how I do it. So you incorporate like machine learning to interpret the past data, and then you add on the AI that like kind of gains context on the present data, and then you add that to the model.
Could you explain what machine learning is?
Yeah, of course. Machine learning, how I understand it, is like when you take a large amount of data, you feed it through some nodes to kind of gain an outcome.
Some nodes?
Nodes, like a decision-making system.
What? Oh, like if this, then that.
If this and that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
really cool stuff. Did you win that one? Y'all must have.
No, unfortunately not. Yeah.
That seems like a really good idea.
It was a pretty good idea, but unfortunately, there were some cracked Indian dudes at UTD, so we just did not get a chance.
Oh man. So I kind of want to pivot away from AI, right?
Mhm.
Now let's go into a little bit more about some of that kickboxing.
Kickboxing, let's do it.
experience, right?
Yeah,
So,
I like this.
So you said you had 3 fights.